I've 30 females struggled with anxiety for most of my life, but over the past few years, I thought I had it somewhat under control. This year, however, has been a different story. My anxiety has been through the roof, and I've found myself feeling overwhelmed more often than not. Earlier this year, I met AP, 24 male, and unfortunately, he became an unhealthy coping mechanism. I'm not proud of it. I know it was a massive betrayal, and it was wrong on so many levels. But if I'm being honest, I didn't realize at the time that I was using the affair as a way to cope. It became an unhealthy distraction from the constant feelings of anxiety and the self-esteem issues I couldn't seem to shake. In those moments with AP, I felt wanted, understood, and temporarily relieved from the weight I've been carrying. It felt like a way to escape, even if just for a little while. I know that's not an excuse, but I think it's important to recognize how I got here. 3 weeks ago, my BF found out about the affair through AP's wife. D-Day was a nightmare. The look on BP's face is something I'll never forget. Since then, he's made it clear that he's not interested in reconciliation. He's hurt, and rightfully so. Sometimes he says things that cut deep, and it's painful. But again, I know I deserve it. I've broken his trust in a way I can never take back. I feel so frustrated with myself. Throughout all my anxiety struggles, the one thing that kept me going was the thought that I had a partner who loved me even at my worst. Now I've lost that too, and the loneliness is crushing. The anxiety feels unbearable without that anchor I once had. I used to believe that no matter how low I got, he would be there. But now I feel like I'm completely alone. He barely acknowledges me anymore and doesn't do anything nice for me at all. I know I have to learn to cope without relying on someone else to ground me, but right now, it's just so hard. I'm not sure what my next steps should be. I know I need therapy, but everything feels daunting. I just needed to share this somewhere, hoping maybe someone here can understand or offer advice. I never wanted it to get to this point, but I know I need to face the reality of what I've done and figure out how to move forward. Thank you for reading. Update: BP and I are still living together, but there's no sign that he's open to reconciliation. I've tried to make it clear that I'm ready to do the work, to be accountable, and to address the root causes of my behavior. But for now, he's not interested. Lately, I've been experiencing panic attacks again. The stress at work has been relentless, and my anxiety is as bad as ever. In the past, BP would have been the person to help me through this, even at my worst. But now he just tells me, "Not my monkey, not my circus," or simply ignores me. I know I have no right to expect him to be there for me, but hearing those words still traumatizes me so much. It's hard not to feel emotionally crushed, even though I realize I'm the one who put us in this situation. I recognize there's so much I need to change in my approach. I want to be someone who respects his boundaries and makes him feel heard, even if it means putting my own feelings aside. My therapist recently suggested that I should try to communicate with BP that constantly being hung up in the past isn't productive. I know she's right, but I feel lost about how to even start that conversation without it feeling like I'm trying to control his feelings. Maybe I should have asked her how to approach it better, but I didn't. Most days I find it difficult to even function at work. I'm emotionally paralyzed by the guilt and the overwhelming sense of loss. I know that if I'm serious about healing and making things right, I need to figure out how to work with someone who's hostile toward me. Maybe I should just silently accept the hostility and focus on making BP feel validated. But it's challenging to know where the line is between being supportive and completely erasing myself in the process. I keep holding on to hope that we can have a real conversation, even if it's filled with anger. At least it would be something. But right now it's just silence. I wish he'd at least talk to me, even if it's just to insult me like he did in the beginning. I know that sounds messed up, but the silence is worse because it feels like I don't even exist to him anymore. How do I balance accountability, empathy, and my own emotional survival? Thank you for listening. Final update. BF moved out today. I was blindsided. Are we truly over? Even with everything that's happened, I think a part of me was still holding on to hope that maybe somehow we could find a way to talk things out. But now he's gone. I know I have to keep going, regardless of what happens next. I realize now, more than ever, that whatever the future holds for me, will always be shaped by my own choices, past, present, and future. I'm not proud of who I was when I made those choices that led us here, but I need to acknowledge that part of myself if I ever want to grow. I can't change what I did, but I can choose to be better going forward. The process of working on myself while dealing with the immense guilt and shame is confusing. It feels so unfair, to him most of all, but also to me, that I created this unbearable situation. I can't deny how hard it is to accept this dissonance. I did this to him, and I have to own that. But I also have to keep moving forward without letting the guilt paralyze me. But simply acknowledging it doesn't make it easier to bear. The feeling is overwhelming, suffocating at times, and I wish I could just turn it off. At this point, reconciliation isn't even on my mind. I just want BP to be okay. I hope he can find the help and support he needs, even if it's not coming from me anymore. Seeing him in so much pain, knowing that I caused it, is one of the hardest things I've ever experienced. I hate that I wasn't strong enough, even after trying to work on myself, to communicate better or stop myself sooner. I wish I could have been better for him, for both of us. But I know I can't dwell in that wish. All I can do is learn from this and make sure it doesn't happen again. The thought that I might not get another chance to make things right fills me with an intense anxiety, but I'm trying to process it, as painful as it is. I know I have to accept that I may never get the opportunity to fix what I broke, and that's part of the consequence I need to face. Still, I have to hold on to the hope that even without a second chance with BP, I can still grow into someone I can be proud of. I just hope that, somewhere along the way, he finds the peace he deserves. Thank you for reading and for being a space where I can at least put this out there. I don't know what's next, but I'm here, trying. Story 2. I've been feeling really low lately, and I'm not sure how to pull myself out of it. My family tries to be supportive, telling me things like, "You're not a cheater." But the truth is, I am a cheater. I can't just erase that part of my story, and it feels like they're in denial about what really happened. I know they mean well, but it doesn't change how ashamed I feel, and it definitely doesn't make it any easier to move forward. Then when I fall into this self-pity mode, I get yelled at for it. I get it. They don't want me to just wallow in guilt. But sometimes it all feels so overwhelming that I wish I could just disappear. The weight of everything I've done and the hurt I've caused is so heavy. I know that's not a healthy way to think, but it's honestly where my mind goes when I feel like there's no way to make things right. BP has been blunt about his feelings lately. He says I'm not putting in enough effort, but I genuinely don't know what more I can do besides saying, "Yes, I'm sorry, I'll try harder." I wish I could undo the affair, but I can't, and that reality is crushing. He won't leave, but it's not because he wants to work on things. He's made it clear that he's only staying until the kids are 18. That stings in a different way because it feels like I'm just enduring his resentment with no real path to redemption in his eyes. I know I need to keep my spirits up somehow and find ways to show affection toward BP, but I'm really struggling. It's hard to show love when I feel like I'm suffocating in my own self-loathing, and it's hard to give more when I'm not sure what more even looks like anymore. How do you keep your spirit high when the guilt and shame feel so overwhelming? How do you show genuine affection when you're unsure if it's even wanted? I'd appreciate any advice or words of encouragement from those who have been in this position. Update: my BP refuses to respect me, even in front of our kids, 18 female and 16 male 3. They know about the affair, so he says there's no reason to hold back. I don't see his point. Truthfully, what does respect have to do with my affair? Every day he belittles me and says hurtful things. Sometimes it escalates, and he even threatens to throw my things out of the house. I wish he would just follow through so I'd know what I'm dealing with. I can't even look him in the eyes anymore. He tells me that this is what cheating does to a person and that I did this to him, but I honestly don't know how I'm supposed to respond or recover from this. The relationship now revolves entirely around him, and I know it's because of the pain I caused, but it's suffocating. I can't express how I feel because he immediately sees it as me playing the victim. I know I deserve the consequences of my actions, but the constant fear and degradation are becoming too much. I never thought we'd reach this point, where I would be scared in my own home. I understand that my betrayal caused him unimaginable pain, but I don't know how to navigate the situation. I'm terrified of saying or doing the wrong thing, but I also feel completely trapped. I know I brought this situation on myself, but how do I cope when the person I wronged is becoming someone I can't even recognize anymore?